Hi and welcome. I'm Daniel Farrell with Demon Hunter Paranormal, and I'm going to give another talk that I was asked to give on my Instagram page by a friend of mine. The talk's going to be on the Man AKA Shadowman tonight. And, you know, in the paranormal world, we know this figure quite well. A lot of people have claimed to have seen him or had run-ins with him or with this figure, you know. So let's get into it, and I'm going to hit on many aspects of it with from the paranormal view aspects to scientific aspects of it as well. So as we know about this figure, he's about 6 feet tall. You know, face is obscured. A lot of times he's claimed to have been seen with glowing red eyes, a trench coat, and a wide brim hat like a fedora. And that theory or sighting of that has been well known, you know, across pretty much across the world, of people claiming of that's what they see every time they see this figure. Now the theories is these theories are ranging from a psychological hallucination like a sleep glitch to a demonic or supernatural being. And we have a few key characteristics here. Like I had said about the appearance of a tall, shadowy figure about 6 foot in a dark trench-like coat and a fedora or top hat with the face obscured, glowing red eyes. His behavior is quiet, usually, you know, standing still, watching from a doorway, maybe a corner of the room, or right next to your bed, looming over you with the glowing red eyes, which definitely would instill dread and fear intensely in a person. The most common is during the occurrences of this is most common during sleep paralysis, falling asleep, or waking up. There have been claims of it also being seen in the daylight. So, with that being said, you know, it's just not, this figure is just not known to be seen during your sleep or between your REM of sleep. Now, there's theories of his nature, and I'm going to break a little bit of this down, and as the talk goes, I'll get deeper into a few of these. Like the neurological and psychological. They're saying is a hallucination sleep paralysis, which we already kind of talked about. The REM intrusion or a shared culture archetype. We're going to get more into that a little later in the talk. As far as paranormal and spiritual goes, people are claiming it's a demon, a spirit, or an observer entity studying humans, which could be interdimensional being or extraterrestrial in itself, and we'll get into a little more on that theory. But what I would like to talk about is the origins of the Hat Man. And this is where it gets a little, we get a little bit more understanding of it. Now, in the origins of the Hat Man, we have generational accounts from people claiming their parents or their grandparents have witnessed this. You know, even great grandparents or somewhere along the line have seen this similar entity. Now, of course, this would suggest that claims of the Hat Man or Shadow Man were coming in long before the internet. So there was no social forums. There was, you know, none of these social media pages to be able to get on there and type it, you know, let everybody know, hey, this happened to me, or I saw this, and be able to communicate with others who may have had the same experience. You know, so it wasn't widely documented. or shared as a phenomenon that was collective, until online platforms became available. So really, we don't know when the actual first sighting of the Hat Man or Shadow Man did appear. But in the 1970s, there, and maybe even and earlier, like I said, there is accounts on forums and in books. Now, this goes back as far as the 1970s or even mid 20th century. But there is a person that recounted an experience from 1971. When they were 6 years old, they described the figure they saw as a faceless figure in a black wide brimmed hat and trench coat, and they said it was standing next to their bed in the wee hours of the morning. Now that's really the only account I personally could find, and that's from 1971. So, I mean, somebody else might be able to find something earlier than that, and if you do, please let me know. But going into more of the origins of this phenomenon, the reports of it really begin to spread and become widespread in the late 2000s. It was gaining a lot of popularity, because of online forums, social media, and even like radio talk shows like Coast to Coast AM that connected shared experiences globally. So the Hat Man is not just to one region or one area. It's a global phenomenon that a lot of people have been dealing with. And so the question is what I would really love to find out is when the first sighting was, but I don't think I'll ever be able to get that. But the most common explanations here are going to be scientific and psychology are going to be the first common explanations I want to touch on. And like we talked about earlier, the sleep paralysis, where your mind's waking up but your body remains in REM sleep, causing vivid hallucinations and liability to move. And then we have the culture archetype. Like this figure consistent appearance across cultures. It suggests it might be a shared cultural myth or a subconscious reworking of horror figures like Freddy Krueger. Again, this is common explanations from a scientific/psychology point of view. Psychological stress. Hat Man often appears during times of intense emotional distress, trauma, or turmoil, acting as a manifestation of our inner fear. So, if you're really stressed out, and with this one, with the psychological stress, that's where, he's more or less seen during the daytime, during daylight, not during sleep. Okay, and then we have, of course, medications. Overuse or side effects of certain antihistamines, like Benadryl, they have actually been linked to these experiences of people hallucinating off of them. So it's kind of is he really there or is he not really there type of thing when it comes to the scientific and psychology explanations. And the paranormal explanations. He is, of course, a shadow entity, believed by many to be a genuine spirit, a demon, or interdimensional being that feeds on fear or simply observes humans. So, with that being said, is he actually here to instill fear in us? Or is Shadow Man just observing us, but because we don't understand what we are seeing, and because of the time frame that we're seeing it, that we feel the fear and terror of this thing just lingering over us, watching us. Now, here is another paranormal explanation, and I don't know if a lot of people talk about this one or not. But astral projection. You know, when you astral project yourself, allowing yourself to leave your body and go into another realm type state. Many do have this theory, and it's suggesting that it's just another person astral projecting themselves into this being or figure and doing this to observe other people. Which, if that's the case, to me, that's kind of weird. And then, of course, another good theory is extraterrestrials. These theories have been made as well, that the Hat Man is actually an extraterrestrial, and it's simply here to observe us, especially during sleep and stress, and just watching us and seeing, I guess, how we react and how we are during it. Now, interdimensional being, and for paranormal explanation, this is a hypothetical entity that exists in and can travel between dimensions beyond our familiar three spatial dimensions and time. So it could be an interdimensional being that's traveling through and not particularly coming to you, but that's where this figure ends up at. It's coming in and seeing and entering your room or your sleep. Okay, so there's a lot of theories out there about it, especially during our times of like when we're very vulnerable. You know, where we are open to being hurt, attacked, or influenced. That's another big one of when you will see the shadowy figure, when you will see the Hat Man, is when you're feeling that way. Because the Hat Man seems to show up mainly when we are in distress, or we're overly stressing out about something, or when we're sleeping, maybe we're stressing out in our sleep, maybe we're having a hard time sleep, and by the time we get to that REM, that's where the glitch comes in and happens. And we can feel something watching us, and we can open our eyes, but we can't move because of the fear that he's instilling in us, the dread he's instilling in us. So this figure is very hard to understand. I have never met anybody, especially in the paranormal community, and if anybody that's watching this in the paranormal community has ever got a chance to capture the Hat Man or actually interact with it through EVPs or any type of other electronic device, I would love to hear about it. I myself have never got the chance to yet. But we got to look at the Hat Man from all aspects of what's going on, because it seems that the Hat Man or Shadow Man appears when we're vulnerable, when we're not ready for it. You know, when our mind's getting a little weaker, we're getting overly tired, we're very stressed out, we're dealing with trauma. And it seems that with his characteristics and his behavior of just standing there quietly, just watching, it seems like he is more of an observer, observing what's going on. But I would love to hear everybody's thoughts on the Hat Man, and if you have had any experiences with him, please leave a comment and let me know. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, please. I would greatly appreciate that. And then also don't let me know if you want to hear any other talks on anything else as far as cryptids, anything else on the paranormal, or spiritual. I'm more than open to take suggestions and give more talks. All right. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful night and enjoy your family during this wonderful. And I hope you enjoyed your family during this wonderful winter solstice and Yuletide. Blessed be.